focus our attention on the divine form of Sri Ramakrishna and pray to him for the peace and prosperity of the whole humanity. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been discussing the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Chapter 27 was concluded. Chapter 28 we have started. Sri Ramakrishna walked towards the Panchavati, the place where he used to sit for meditation. Along with him, M and other devotees were there. It was midday. It was time for the flood tide in the Ganges. The Ganges was near to ocean in Calcutta, so every day there would be tides. It's a fantastic sight to see the tides coming on Ganges from the ocean. It's a beautiful sight. Referring to the tides, Sri Ramakrishna said, the ebb tide and flood tide are indeed amazing. But notice one thing. Near the sea, you see ebb tide and flood tide in a year. But far away from the sea, the river flows in one direction only. What does this mean? Try to apply its significance to your spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna had wonderful skill in spiritualizing everything, and he would give practical ways of conducting our spiritual life. So, all the devotees were carefully hearing what Sri Ramakrishna wanted to say. He said, those who live very near God feel within them the currents of devotion ecstasy, and the like. In the case of a few Ishvara kotis, for instance, one sees even Mahabhava and Prema. So, Sri Ramakrishna is suggesting that we should conduct our spiritual life and discipline with firmness. Then we will be able to overcome problems and difficulties on our way. That's the way to get into great joy and peace. You can experience the real peace, you can be truly happy if you become associated with holy people and if you follow the spiritual instructions and if you conduct your spiritual life with steadiness, certainly you will be overcoming all the hurdles in your way. There is a story in Mahabharata. It's a very wonderful, great epic. It has got many characters. There was one particular character, his name was Vidura. He was the prime minister of Dhritarashtra. Duryodhana was a prince. Vidura was a great scholar and a great devotee. His knowledge was blended with devotion. He lived a very simple life, though he was in a very high position. He was just satisfied in simple living and deep thinking. He was wholeheartedly devoted to Lord Krishna. So we see when Lord Krishna came to Hastinapur in order to compromise, in order to negotiate peace with Duryodhana, who was creating problems, who was very brutal, who was not agreeing to give anything to his cousins, Pandavas. So there was every danger the war could break any moment. In order to prevent the war, Lord Krishna himself came to see whether peace could be established. Duryodhana, he is a man of extreme egoism, jealousy, hatred, anger, all concentrated in him. He wanted to show his way of dealing. So he wanted Krishna should come to his palace and have his hospitality. He had made elaborate arrangements to invite him and give him good dinner. But then quietly Lord Krishna went to Vidura's home. Uninvited. He went to Vidura's home because he liked him very much. He liked him because he was a very good devotee. God is always attracted by the devotee. If you cultivate the qualities of a devotee, God runs to you. You don't have to run to God. And here, Lord Krishna is coming to Vidura's home. At that time, Vidura was not in the home. Mother was there. And after initial talking about the welfare, she offered a little milk. They didn't have anything in the home other than that. Lord Krishna was supremely satisfied to drink that milk because that was given with great devotion, with great love. So it was like nectar. And Lord Krishna is drinking that milk. Drinking that milk, he blessed the whole family. The whole home was blessed. Duryodhana became very angry. What? Krishna didn't come to my place and he went to that poor fellow? Like that he was making derogatory remarks. But Lord Krishna did not bother about that. Anyway, I am just giving you introduction to make you understand what type of person Vidura was. A very great devotee, a very great scholar, well versed in the scriptures. Such a noble person was insulted by the Prince Duryodhana. Vidura felt deeply hurt. He could not tolerate it anymore. He said, well, this is not the place for me. I should get away from this. He wanted to have some peace of mind. He just left Hastinapur, began to wander from place to place as an ascetic. So, after many years of wandering, Vidura met Uddhava, another famous character, a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Probably you are aware of the book, the last message of Lord Krishna. One is Bhagavad Gita, which he gave at the Kurukshetra. The other one was the final message of Lord Krishna. It's excellent. It is a remarkable book. Uddhava Gita, it's called. Lord Krishna's teachings before he left his mortal frame. You can find those teachings in that text. So, when Vidura met him, Uddhav narrated to him all about the terrible Mahabharata war. And then he said, Lord Krishna also had left the body. And he also said how the whole Yadava race was completely destroyed. So, he told the whole thing. Vidura deeply pondered about the inscrutable workings of fate. Then he began to wander. He came to a hermitage of a rishi whose name was Maitreya on the bank of Ganga. So Vidura, with all humbleness and devotion, he asked the sage, well, Sukhaya karmani karoti loko nataihi sukham vanyaduparamanam cha. Sukhaya karmani karoti loko nataihi sukham vanyaduparamam cha. Vindeta bhuyastata eva dukkham yadatra yuktam bhagavan vadennaha. This verse comes in the Srimad Bhagavat. The meaning of this is, Vidura was asking a question. He said to Maitreya, well, people do work with a view to getting happiness. But they neither attain happiness nor succeed in ending their sorrow through their actions. On the contrary, they undergo suffering again and again as a result of those acts. What is your advice under the circumstances? Tell me about it. How to overcome this problem of suffering? This question was asked not by an ignorant, ordinary person, but by one who was considered one of the wisest men of his time. Well, what did Maitreya answer? He did not ask Vidura to go and meet some influential people. He did not tell Vidura to organize some social reforms. He did not tell him to study political theory or study economics so that all the problems could be solved. He never said any of these things. On the other hand, Maitreya began to describe the glories of the Lord and advised Vidura to worship the Lord. In other words, the sage Maitreya suggested only a spiritual way to the problems of life. That's the point. Life is full of difficulties and uncertainties. Everybody knows it. Everybody is aware of it. Everybody experiences it. It is true. People find themselves caught in the maze of problems. They believe that the source of all their difficulties lies in the external world, and that they are clever enough to solve all their problems by manipulating men and materials. But when they confront with difficulties, what do ordinarily? They run hither and thither. They try to influence or coerce others. They try all kinds of worldly means to overcome the difficulties. But they soon discover that problem solving is not so easy. It is an endless process which consumes all their time and energy. The very attempt to solve one problem creates more problems. If at all any solution is found, it proves to be partial and temporary. This is what the great sage Narad said to the king. Again I am quoting from Bhagavad. Dukkeshve katarenapi daiva bhutatma heteshu Dukkeshva katarenapi daiva bhutatma hetushu Jivasya na vyavachchedaha syat chet tat pratikriyaha yatahi purusho bharam shirasa gurumudvahan tam skandena adhatte tata sarvaha pratikriyaha. Just I am reading this Sanskrit was just so that these Sanskrit let them touch your ears. The meaning is very wonderful. Narad is telling to the king, there is no such thing as absolute freedom for the embodied being from even one of the three types of sorrow, namely those brought about by divine agencies, those inflicted by other beings, and those relating to one's own body and mind. Even if there is a remedy in a particular case, it only proves to be a temporary relief. As a man carrying a heavy load on his head may shift it to his shoulders, so are all worldly remedies. At long last, the thoughtful person comes to the conclusion that the problems of life cannot be fully solved through worldly ways. Then he begins to inquire himself, is there a total and lasting solution? This question came to Buddha 2600 years ago. If he had thought that there could be a worldly solution to the problems of life, he would have become the king and ruled the kingdom wisely. But he didn't do that. Rather, he renounced the world and practiced meditation under a tree. In other words, he too sought only a spiritual way to find the remedy for the problems of life, problems of suffering. Spiritual life, that's what Sri Ramakrishna was telling again and again. Step up your spiritual life. Do it earnestly. Be firm, be steady. That's the way to get peace and joy. That's the way to overcome all hurdles. That's the way to solve all the problems in life. Do we have a spiritual solution to the problems of life? All the scriptures of the world religions are unanimous in holding that there is. The lives and teachings of many, many saints and sages bear testimony to this truth. This truth forms the foundation of spiritual life. It is this belief that makes renunciation, austerity, prayer, worship, meditation, and self-analysis worth all the struggles. Prayer, meditation, etc. will reveal their transforming power only when they are practiced with a firm conviction that through them alone one can find a lasting solution to the problems of life. And at the same time, to practice the spiritual disciplines, but at the same time indulging in worldly ways, conceit, cunning, hatred, then it becomes a religious hypocrisy. Such people who talk of spirituality but behave in a different way, destiny punishes such people by depriving them of both worldly prosperity and peace of mind. Whether one follows worldly life or spiritual life, one should hold on to certain basic convictions. Otherwise, one will not attain success in either. Before he embarks on the spiritual quest, every aspirant must convince himself that through that alone can he attain lasting peace, joy, fulfillment, and find a total and final solution to the problems of life. When it is a fact that spiritual life can solve all the problems confronting the people, why all people don't seek the spiritual solution? One can ask that question. If spiritual solution is the only true solution of life, why is it that only very few people seek it sincerely? Spinoza, a great philosopher, raises a similar question at the end of his monumental book, Ethics. He says, why is it that the way of salvation which he has shown is being neglected by almost everyone? And he answers sadly in the last sentence of his book, because it is difficult and therefore rare, like everything sublime. When we are confronted with problems, it appears to be easier to talk to people and rush here and there than to sit down and pray to God or meditation. Why is it so? There are three reasons why spiritual solution appears to be difficult. One is the fear of unknown. It seems to us safer to hold on to things, friends and relatives, money and materials, which are known even though perishable, than to pray to an unknown being or dive into the unknown depths of one's consciousness. In order to depend solely on an unknown reality, one needs extraordinary courage. It is faith that gives this courage. Some people seem to be born with deep faith. Some others acquire it through their contact with holy people, while the rest spend their lives swinging between the sublime and the ridiculous. The second reason why people avoid spiritual solution is ignorance of the laws of the spiritual world. To build a house or to attain success in business or to acquire wealth, one has to work hard. By analogy, we are apt to think that spiritual life also involves so much labor and hardship. No doubt, effort is needed in spiritual life too, but it is of a totally different type. All that is necessary to establish a contact with God, the source of infinite power and glory, either through self-surrender or through meditative opening of the soul to cosmic consciousness. The third reason for avoiding the spiritual solution is bhoga vasana. That is the natural craving of the mind for the objects of the senses. Past actions and experiences create an outward going tendency in the mind which is so strong that few people can resist it and turn the mind inward. Spiritual life means turning your mind inwards. Spiritual life means going towards God, coming nearer to God day by day. Now it is important for us to know exactly what are the problems of life. We have used the term problems of life repeatedly. We don't mean by it scarcity of food and clothing. We don't mean that. No doubt this problem is a serious one too, but it can be remedied by adopting or making sweeping economic reforms. But there are other problems which have nothing to do with poverty and which cannot be solved through physical means. These are the intrinsic problems of life which are peculiar to human existence. These existential problems have been collectively called dukkha in Sanskrit, that is suffering. Suffering does not depend upon what we have, but what we are. A poor man may lead a happier life than a rich man. When Lord Buddha spoke of life as dukkha, suffering, what he meant was this existential suffering. It should be remembered that the three sides which changed Buddha's life were: one is disease, second is old age, and third death. When he saw these things, it changed his way of thinking and way of life. So these sides changed his life, not hunger and poverty. Had he seen a hungry man, what he would have done? He would have stopped the chariot and ordered some food for him. Had the sight of poverty affected him, he would have gone home and started socio-economic reforms. Why was Buddha so powerfully affected by disease, old age and death? Because they meant change, impermanence. Why should change be a problem? Because it strikes at the root of ego, the very foundation of man's existence. All the desires, all ambitions, all plans and all activities of man are based on the belief in the permanence of his being. Impermanence means the denial of all this. It means non-being, the negation of existence. Non-existence, impermanence is an essential part of life and a matter of common experience. But we become aware of it only at certain critical moments. Again, to take an instance from Mahabharata, King Yudhishthira was asked a question. What is the greatest wonder? Dharmaraj, he replied, Ahanyahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam sheshaha sthavaramicchanti kimascharyamatah param. Every day people go to the abode of the king of death, and yet those who remain hope to live forever. What can be a greater wonder than this? That's the point. Anyway, what Sri Ramakrishna is telling, you should give great importance to your spiritual life. The more you come towards spiritual life, the more you will be able to get peace and joy, and you will be able to solve all the problems that you are confronting in your life. We shall continue the same topic next Tuesday also. Thank you very much. Page 533, chapter 28. It was Mahalaya, a sacred day of the Hindus, and the day of the new moon. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in his room with Mahendra Mukherjee, Priya Mukherjee, M, Baburam, Harish, Kishori and Latu. Some were sitting on the floor, some standing and others moving about. Hazra was sitting on the porch. Rakhal was still at Vrindavan with Balram. Master said to the devotees, I was at Captain's house in Calcutta. It was very late when I returned. What a sweet nature Captain has. What devotion. He performs the arati before the image. First he waves a lamp with 3 lights, then a lamp with 1 light, and last of all he waves burning camphor. When performing the worship he doesn't speak. Once he motioned to me to take my seat. During the worship his eyes become swollen from spiritual emotion. They look as if they have been stung by wasps. He can't sing, but he chants hymns beautifully. In his mother's presence, he sits on a lower level. She sits on a high stool. His father was a Havildar in the English army. He would hold a gun with one hand and with the other worship Lord Shiva. His servant made a clay image of Shiva for him. He wouldn't even touch water before performing the worship. He earned 6,000 rupees a year. Captain sends his mother to Benares now and then. 12 or 13 servants attend her there. It's very expensive. Captain knows the Vedanta, the Gita and the Bhagavad by heart. He says that the educated gentlemen of Calcutta follow the ways of the Mlecchas. In his earlier years, he practiced Hatha Yoga. That's why he strokes my head gently when I am in Samadhi. His wife worships the deity in another form, that of Gopala. This time, I didn't find her so miserly. She too knows the Gita and other scriptures. What devotion they have. They cooked a goat curry. Captain said they could eat it for 15 days. But she said, no, only 7 days. But I liked the taste of it. They serve a very small quantity of each dish, but nowadays they give me good portions since I eat more than they do. After the meal, either Captain or his wife fans me. They are very pious souls and show great respect to holy men. The people of Upper India are greatly devoted to sadhus. The sons and nephews of the Jung Bahadur of Nepal once visited the temple garden. Before me, they showed great respect and humility. Once a young girl of Nepal came to see me with the captain. She was a great devotee and unmarried. She knew the whole of the Gita Govinda by heart. Dwarika Babu and the others wanted to hear her music. When she sang the Gita Govinda, Dwarika Babu was profoundly moved and wiped the tears from his eyes with his handkerchief. She was asked why she was not married. She said, I am the handmaid of God. Whom else shall I serve? Her people respect her as a goddess, as the scriptures enjoin. To Mahendra Mukherjee and the others, Sri Ramakrishna said, I shall feel very happy to know that you are being benefited by your visits here. To Yam he said, why do people come here? I don't know much of reading and writing. Yam said, God's power is in you. That's why there is such power of attraction. It is the divine spirit that attracts. Master said, yes, this is the attraction of Yogamaya, the divine Shakti. She casts the spell. God performs all his Leela through the help of Yogamaya. The love of the gopis was like the attachment of a woman to her paramour. They were intoxicated with ecstatic love for Sri Krishna. A woman cherishing illicit love is not very keen about her own husband. If she is told that her husband has come, she will say, what if he has? There is food in the kitchen, he can help himself. But if she is told of the arrival of a stranger, jovial, handsome and witty, she will run to see him and peep at him from behind a screen. You may raise an objection and say, we have not seen God, how can we feel attracted to him as the gopis felt attracted to Krishna? But it is possible. I do not know him. I have only heard of his name, and that has fixed my mind upon him. A devotee asked, Sir, what is the significance of Sri Krishna stealing the gopis' clothes? Master replied, there are 8 fetters that bind a person to the world. The gopis were free from all but one, shame. Therefore Lord Krishna freed them from that too by taking away their clothes. On attaining God, one gets rid of all fetters. To Mahendra Mukherjee and the others, he said, by no means all people feel it. The touch of the Malaya breeze turns all trees into sandalwood, no doubt. But there are few exceptions, the banyan, the cotton tree and the ashwatha, for example. To the Mukherjee brothers he said, you are well off. If a man slips from the path of yoga, then he is reborn in a prosperous family and starts again his spiritual practice for the realization of God. Mahendra said, why does one slip from the path of yoga? Master said, while thinking of God, the aspirant may feel a craving for material enjoyment. It is this craving that makes him slip from the path. In his next life he will be born with the spiritual tendencies that he failed to translate into action in his present life. We will stop here. Any questions? No, they are part of practice.
Okay.
It's a prayer.
Yes.
If you constantly pray that way, you become purified in your heart. So, it's a prayer only. We are expected to pray that way every day for the well-being of the whole humanity.
Okay, thank you.
So that helps life.
Okay.
Any more question? Got it, we shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when the instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years. And my heart burns with its desire. The world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth. May all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.